Good evening to you. Our top stories tonight. The Qatari government has donated a prefab hospital, a generator, 60 beds and accessories to the government of Seychelles. All the equipment arrived on board a military flight from Qatar this afternoon. The humanitarian researcher at the Qatari Fund for Development, Youssef Ahmad Al-Mullah, handed the equipment to the Chief Executive Officer of the healthcare agency, Dr. Danny Louange, at the airport. A team of about 30 military officials was also on the flight. They will be setting up the hospital in a designated area at the Coast Guard base, where a prefab hospital has already been set up. Dr. Louange said that the hospital, which will be assembled in 4 days, will accommodate low-risk patients should there be a surge of COVID-19 cases, as was the case at the start of the pandemic. The Department of Social Affairs has released a report that shows that there has not been any reported or documented case of Seychellois children being sold or involved in prostitution and pornography. The report will be submitted to the United Nations to show the country's progress made in implementing the protocol to the Convention on the Rights of the Child that prohibits the sale of children, child prostitution, and child pornography. The report also highlights the risk of social media when it concerns child pornography and the need for tougher sentences for people who sexually exploit children.
We have a duty to be able to safeguard our children irrespective of who we are. And when we are talking about the duty, it is also an obligation that reporting is actually done. We need to be able to empower our young children as much as we can so that they understand about the decisions and options that they have. We also need to be able to work on prevention even more. So all ministries and agencies need to be able to come together. I've also talked about protection, so we have the right to ensure that all our children are protected. But most of all, it is important to be able to go all the way with holding people accountable. This is paramount if we want the society to be at a better place of what we are actually facing at the moment in Seychelles. We cannot ad hoc 1 week, 2 months, 3 months, you hear of new cases. So accountability is crucial. So we need to go all the way and hold people accountable.
A judge has jailed a man from Limamel for having sex with his partner's 14-year-old daughter. The 42-year-old labourer and driver was given an 8-year prison sentence for a series of assaults. The Supreme Court was told the offences took place at Stade L'Unité in December 2017 and twice in February 2018 at Beauvallon and Limamel. The man, who was 38 at the time, denied the charge. Sentencing him, Judge Mohit Bahan said the seriousness of the offences was aggravated by the age difference between the man and his victim, that he was in a relationship with the girl's mother and had shown no remorse. A 24-year-old woman who had $32,000 in her possession has been arrested, according to a police communique. The woman was intercepted and her luggage searched at the airport on Saturday. The woman and a minor were traveling for a business trip to Dubai on her mother's behalf. Officers from the FCIU and the ANB have launched an investigation in this case. According to the police, the woman couldn't justify why she had that amount in her possession, and she was arrested under the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act. The Ministry of Health is doing its best to bring the fight against COVID-19 to District Level 2. Health Minister Peggy Vidot gave this answer to a question from a Grand Osmaï's elected member, Waven William, on extra efforts to ensure guidance of public health measures so as to safeguard the relaunching of the economy. Still, in the same session of questions, the Public Health Commissioner, Dr. Jude Gedeon, said that whilst the ministry is concentrating on clusters of cases, individual responsibility remains important to the fight against COVID-19. Following a supplementary question on the effectiveness of vaccines, Minister Vidot pointed out that being a new disease, COVID-19 is still evolving and scientists are following the development closely. The Fisheries Minister, Jean-François Ferrari, has said that new employees have been recruited to fill vacancies, resulting from 14 employees resigning over the past 10 months at the SFA. He was responding to a private notice question by the leader of the opposition, Sébastien Pillet, on the number of workers who have resigned at the SFA since October last year. Minister Ferrari said that the reasons the workers left the organization vary. Some left on their own personal terms, while one was asked to resign due to absenteeism, and others were sacked as a result of them engaging in fraudulent activities. Nevertheless, the minister said that with the departure of these staff, the organization continues to operate with the other 216 well-trained and competent staff, who some of them are being redeployed from one department to the other. Media ethics, freedom of the press, the necessity to modernize the media law are some of the issues that the Association of Media Practitioners have discussed with the President Weva Ramkalawan at State House this morning. During the meeting, the President discussed the importance for the media to work with the government to improve its standards, be impartial, and do more research so as to better educate the population. The Vice Chairman of the Association of Media Practitioners, Joanna Nisset, says this was also an occasion for their members to voice out their concerns and challenges they are facing in their profession.
We discussed issues ranging from the laws affecting media, accreditation of journalists, security of journalists, quality of in our work, when the President was especially voluble on that one, where he was pointing out what he would like to see. And at the same time, we were putting forward what are the challenges we meet in getting information, accurate information, timely information. Basically, it was a very good meeting. Sharing of ideas, there was no restraint, it was very amicable, but at the same time, it was very serious.
Thailand and Seychelles can share their expertise on how they can make tourism more sustainable at a time when the COVID pandemic has disrupted the industries in both countries. The new ambassador of Thailand, Sasirit Tangulrat, was speaking after she presented her credentials to President Ramkalawan this morning at State House. She also met Vice President Ahmed Afif. Ambassador Tangulrat will be based in Nairobi, where she is representing 10 other East African countries, including Seychelles. Thailand and Seychelles established diplomatic relations in July 1988.
During the past 3 decades, we have enjoyed very cordial relations in all areas. And not only bilateral relations, our relations are also moving beyond towards multilateral cooperation as well. We had a very fruitful discussion. We discussed issues of bilateral cooperation, which will be mutual benefits for both countries, including our cooperation in the area of tourism, public health, and of course investment. I think Thailand and Seychelles have many things in common. Both economies relied very much on tourism industry. And since the COVID pandemic has disrupted the tourism industries in both countries, so I believe that Thailand and Seychelles can learn from each other how we can move forward our tourism industry in a more sustainable way.
And that's it for now. I'll be back with all the day's news in Creole in just an hour's time. Have a pleasant evening.